While we've been talking about our favorite classes, I actually just like had a like mind explosion right now with a crazy idea. I'm not even kidding, Pete. I need you to be serious now.
Serious face is on, baby.
I What do you think? What do you think of this idea to like completely perfect the education system in university? If you get a 4.0 GPA, you don't have to pay for the semester.
What in the actual fuck did you just say?
No. Think about this, Pete. Think about this. Like, when I'm working, I usually do my job really well, but that's because it's my job and I'm getting paid to do this. And I was thinking, would I have done a lot better if I was paid to like if like every time I went to class, they paid me money to do it. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking I probably would because they're paying me and I have pride in myself. I don't want to get paid for doing a bad job. So if you paid me to go to school, I would be the best dang student you'd ever see. I'd get a 4.1 GPA. That's how good I'd be if I was paid to go to school. Which made me think it's like if you gave the incentive that if you do perfect, you don't have to pay. And every like one GPA point down, you have to pay more per credit. Do you think that would completely change the game of education? Because that would theoretically allow all the poor kids to go to education too. They would just need to be perfect, but they would still be quote unquote allowed to go.
So are you talking about a universal education, as in everybody can attend university, but everyone has to pay unless you get a 4.0 GPA?
I haven't thought about the semanticality. This was just an idea, Pete.
No, I know
I
you had a mind explosion for 10 seconds, and
Yeah,
now you
no.
think
I'm
you can
just
take
thinking
on the
like
education system.
let obviously the education system and selection system could use some work, but like ignoring that, let's just say it stays the same and people are selected to come to this school by the same criteria they are now. But now that you're here, you're incentivized to do well. And if you don't get above a 3.0 in every semester, then you have to pay full price. And for every 1 point you have to, or unless you have scholarship and all that other good stuff. But if you do higher, you pay less. And if you get 4.0, you don't have to pay at all. I feel like that would really motivate kids to like work really hard in and excel. Not because like here's the thing. You should want to excel on your own merit, but as far as me and Pete we've been through school, it's hard to
You've been
stay
through
in
school.
you yeah, and you're almost done. It is hard to stay interested, especially when you're given a lot of fluff courses. Like I studied economics and computer science. Why am I taking like philosophy courses and English
I
courses?
would have totally taken a philosophy course, FYI.
You did. You took death and immortality.
No, it was a religion course. I would have rather take it like a philosophy 101. But anyways, go on.
I mean, like the point is, there's a lot of like for every major's curriculum, there's always a bunch of extra humanities courses that you don't really need that don't help you in your actual field at all. And there are like electives where
It's a fact.
some of them can be interesting, but sometimes
Eh,
they're not.
eh.
And I'm just thinking, if you're forced to go through with this, how do you get the kids interested when they're not? Well, I think this would really kick them all into overdrive. You know what I'm saying?
But you see, it's a really simplistic concept, but the problem is there are so many factors at play aside from
The
that,
main one being that education is an institution, not a public service.
right? And the worst part about it is the institution is the complete overseer, the gatekeeper, the rule maker, the judge. They can decide whether or not to give a person that free tuition based on this new added condition. The problem with it is, like I said, is there are so many things at play. Like you have like you said, people that they can't afford school. That's a huge issue for a lot of people, not only in America but all over the world. There are people in very impoverished nations and states and communities, and they have so much talent, so much educational raw talent, but they have no idea how to get to the US, where we can say objectively the best education higher education system exists. There's also the idea of, if you create this more competition, yeah, it incentivizes everybody to be unbelievable students. But what happens if too many people start doing well? Well, the education system is gonna essentially cannibalize itself that way. Because if you try to pay everybody for getting that 4.0, and let's say a school of 3,000 kids, and 1,000 of them get 4.0s because they're working their asses off, like, damn, amazing for that school. But then, they're losing a third of their revenue, their tuition, right?
Like I said, I wasn't thinking about like the semanticality. I was thinking more like, how do you get kids to care? You know what I'm saying?
Qualitatively, great idea. Here's another thought experiment. Um, the schools try to make their curriculum as hard as possible. At least our school does, because of rankings, because of prestige that it has within the workplace and within graduate institutions as well.
Right.
So these like U.S. News World rankings, they all depend on how difficult the school makes its curriculum, the kind of opportunities that it offers, right? And BU's been steadily increasing the difficulty of the curriculum, as well as like increasing the amount of grade deflation, right? That was a thing while you were going. It's still a thing here, and nobody wants to talk about it, but it's a real thing.
It is what it
Um,
is.
so
I'm
yeah,
content
so
with what I got.
so schools like ours, they would totally increase that grade deflation like tenfold if so many people were doing so well, because they want to maintain their prestige. And like, it's not a bad thing that a school wants to maintain its prestige, but at the cost of what? It's students, right?
Right. All right. Not so great idea overall, but
No. Like I said, qualitatively, a really good idea, because like when you think of it on the surface, why can't we do that? Why should education be not commoditized? In my opinion, I feel like education should be accessible to everybody, everyone, and everything in between. You know what I'm saying? Like, it should be something that everyone can leverage, because otherwise we're just gonna all end up in ditches in the middle of nowhere and not progress as a
you're right.
civilization. But
I want there, in a perfect world, I'd want it to be hybrid, because I do believe that having institutions is a good thing because it promotes competitiveness, and it does make people more, I don't know if passionate is the right word, but more determined.
yeah,
But
it's just such a hard question to answer. I think, quite frankly, and I mean, I'm not gonna drop a lot of Easter eggs, but I am technically working on remolding it right now with my quote unquote project.
what are
It's
you
just
what are
very
you
far off
corrupting it
goal.
from the inside, Pete? What are you doing?
No, man, I'm redoing it. We're creating a new system, but like I said, only Easter eggs for now. No releasing.
No release date yet.
Nothing else. Anyways, yeah, I think that, quite frankly, and a lot of people agree with me, that the system itself needs a complete revamping, because otherwise, right now, what we're working with is, it's only going to work up to an extent, and if it keeps going this way, then it's just going to implode within itself, and we're going to have a very interesting fallout to deal with.
I don't think
IMO.
complete revamp. I think just we need to take baby steps. Because if you change it right away, it'll lead to confusion and
Well, yeah,
frustration.
yeah. That, I mean, when I say complete revamp, I don't think that thing can just
Tomorrow.
impulsively happen in 1 week or whatever. Yeah, it'll take years, decades even. But if it so happens, well, then hopefully we'll be on a better path. But other than that, it's a hard ass problem to solve, man. It is so goddamn hard.